Welcome back everybody to the channel. This week I've spent my entire time driving this 2024 Volkswagen Golf R, and it's the 6-speed manual transmission. Matter of fact, this is actually the last 6-speed manual transmission that Volkswagen is doing for the Golf R. From now on, I believe it is only going to be the DSG, which you saw me show you last year in white back in 2023. I got to drive it in the winter. This time I've got the manual here in the summer. No major changes from 23 to 24, so it's basically the same vehicle. The only difference is this time I get to try the manual, and it's even more fun. So I'm gonna take you through the exterior, then the interior, then of course the POV drive, and I'm gonna talk to you about the difference between the DSG and the manual, which one's more fun, and everything in between. Let's get right into it. So as usual, up first we have this lapis blue metallic paint color here that looks really good with the matching blue brake calipers. Gotta love that. Front end here looks really cool too. The aggressive lights, the aggressive front end that Volkswagen Golf Rs tend to have, as well as we get the nice light bar that kind of connects everything. Nice R badge there. Some actual real vents down here for the intake, parking sensors, which is very nice. No 360-degree camera, which would have been nice to see for kind of, you know, the final manual, and even just at the price point would still be kind of nice to have, but we don't. But I'll take the parking sensors. Love the daytime running LEDs. It's an aggressive front end, like just like the GTI is. The GTI is aggressive. The Golf R looks just as aggressive. So let me talk to you about what is powering my Golf R this year. I've got a 4-liter, 2-liter turbocharged TSI engine giving us 315 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque. I've also got a 6-speed manual transmission and of course the 4Motion all-wheel drive. Now the as-tested price here for my Volkswagen Golf R is $50,145 Canadian. So now we move to the side profile for the Golf R. Looks really compact. I like the ride height here. It's surprisingly roomy on the interior, despite when you look at it from this here angle, it looks pretty small, but I love the stance of the Golf R. Usually I'm not a hatchback fan, but if you show me a Golf or just Golf GTI Golf R, I am kind of a hatchback fan in this segment. I really do like them. So let's get a little bit closer to show you some stuff here. So on the side here, we can see we have these chromed out, it's not actual chrome, but it's like this kind of silver cover for our mirror caps here. And then we also have the turn signal LED, which is very nice. Got the Golf R badge right down there. And then we also get these really nice blue painted brake calipers, which you can kind of see the R in there. Looks really nice, like the little Volkswagen logo there too. Very cool. One-touch lock and unlocking doors. A little bit of like piano black here that's gonna get scuffed up a little bit. It's already being scuffed up, but nothing to complain about. I really enjoy the side profile, and I actually prefer the blue over the white from last year. So next we come, last but not least, to the rear of the Volkswagen Golf R. You can see we've got the iconic taillights. Like I said, nothing changed from last year. I actually left it running this time for this shot so that you can actually hear the exhaust a little bit. It's got a nice little idle sound. Also, we have a really nice diffuser right down here as well. Golf R badge right there, and you can see our camera pokes out right here as well. And you can also see we kind of got like a nice rear wing going here as well. It's very subtle, but it is very much there. Got the wiper there as well with the brake lights. Really hard to complain about it here. So let me actually show you the trunk really quick as well. So trunk space is pretty decent. You just got to lift this guy up right here. And we've got this privacy screen, a little bit of storage under the floor. I found it hard to fit my stroller in here. I actually had to remove this part right here in order to get it to fit, but that does work when I do it, but it was difficult. So not the most practical thing for families, but you can make it work, but a decent amount of space, and the opening is quite wide as well. So that's gonna do it for the exterior tour of the 2024 Volkswagen Golf R. Let's hop in the interior, and then after that, POV drive. Let's do it. All right, as usual, we're starting up with the rear. We're gonna try to fit behind myself. You know, the way that this thing looks doesn't look like I can fit, but you'll be surprised to know that I actually do. So not a lot of change here again from 2023. Little bit of a speaker there, not bad. Window controls are nice. Nothing crazy going on the door sill. You can get a good look at the seats right here. The blue stitching continues, and also you kind of got like this blue thing like we do have on the front seat, which is very nice to look at. Kind of this faux carbon fiber thing too, but it's kind of like a bucket seat, so it will hold you well, which is nice. So let's actually hop in here. Easy to get in, surprisingly, despite, you know, the vehicle height and, you know, just kind of how compact it is. So now I'm sitting behind myself. I am pushed up against the front seat a little bit, so it's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but it is doable. Like, this is completely fine. I'm not uncomfortable here. I've got plenty of headroom. My head doesn't even come close to the headliner here, so that's very good. So I've got my automatic climate control back here as well, and look at this, heated seats for both sides, really cool. Got some vents back here. Even though it's a small cabin, they didn't have to put it, they did, and I absolutely love that they did. So I've also got this guy that's going to fold down right here, 2 cup holders and a little armrest. Pretty good amount of space. I don't feel like I'm on top of the other passenger. I feel like the wheelbase here is long enough for that. Again, love the bucket seats, and actually pretty comfortable back here. A little bit of pocket storage there, a little bit of pocket storage up here and up here. So really not a bad place to spend time. It's actually pretty practical, although from the outside it doesn't look like it. But let's check out up front. All right, next up is the business end, the front seat for the Volkswagen Golf R. Again, nothing crazy going on right here. It's you know, pretty basic. When it comes to like the door trim, we got kind of like a little material there that kind of splits things up. Take a look at the seats though. I absolutely adore these seats. One of the best in the game. It kind of holds you nicely. You sink in very cool there. Nice blue R badge right there, and kind of the faux carbon fiber. Again with the blue color right on the back of that seat right there. So let's actually hop in, show you how that fits. Easier to get in the front than the back, obviously. Close the door. Now, one of the changes I think we noticed from last year is I think the blacked out Volkswagen is a little different, but we still have the R badge right there. We also still have the blue accents, the blue stitching around the steering wheel. Still got these capacitive touch buttons, but we have heated steering, so no problem. And then we've got our media controls on this side, more media controls on this side. Would have been nice to see them combined into one. I don't know why some manufacturers do that, but here we are. I've also got lane keep assist, cruise control, adaptive cruise control, and this is a manual vehicle, so that's pretty cool to see that. And again, if you like physical buttons, Golf R, not the place to be on the interior anyways, because you really don't get any. So these are all touch buttons, physical buttons right here, and then of course, touch buttons right there. But let me show you this infotainment display here. Very nice, very easy to use. You can see this is kind of my main one that I like to use the most. I've got my fuel economy on the right. I've got the Golf R kind of logo in the middle with the tachometer, and then I've got the gear that I'm in on the left. Since I'm a beginner manual driver, it's very useful for me to have that right there. But you can change that as well. You can change pretty much everything and anything for either the right or the left side. It's actually insane how much stuff that you can use and have on this thing. We also have a couple of different views. So I've got kind of the race mode. This is like the true race mode. Again, you can customize all of this. The kind of normal standard one, then we go on and we have our navigation, the assisted driving one, the calm one, and then back to the one that I like the most. So there you go, that is pretty decent. Moving on to our infotainment display, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, very easy to use. It's not a hard system to use. There's a lot of stuff that's buried, like to turn off the ESC, for example, I have to go into exterior, rotate the car all the way around to where it goes, brakes, and then I can turn it off. There's no button for it. You kind of have to go, it's buried, right? But I do have ventilated seats and heated seats. So for the price, I really enjoy that. We've got decent ambient lighting in here as well that you can change and you can go through. You can see we have custom modes, different stuff like that. So I enjoy all of that stuff. But again, buttons, not gonna happen. This doesn't light up at nighttime, so you're gonna lose it. If you don't remember where it is, well, too bad, because you're not gonna be able to see it. That's what I would like. A volume knob or some type of climate knob would be good. I do have like a quick access climate button that I can kind of change things from in here, but still, I would like to see buttons. Hopefully Volkswagen does it. They're gonna take away the manual transmission. Hopefully they give us some buttons in return. But yeah, decent, same as last year, no complaints, other than there's no buttons. Now we do have a bunch of different drive modes, but I want to talk about the custom mode because this is really cool. You can change everything from steering, drivetrain, engine sound, ACC, the light assist, everything. And then we also, if we put it into race mode, we have the Nürburgring mode, which is really, really cool. Makes the engine sound super aggressive when I put it in that mode. Makes the revs go higher. Everything is just on 10 when the car goes into the Nürburgring mode. So really cool. We've got a wireless charging pad right down here, USB-C for the connection of the phones if you want to use wired. Then we also have our 6-speed manual transmission. Look, the throws are pretty short or pretty long for what the car wants to be, right? Like it's a very long throw. I don't hate it. I don't enjoy like the feel of this shifter either. I feel like it should be smaller. This is quite big. It feels like I'm shifting an automatic. It's a bit weird, but I do like the design. I like how it's laid out. I like how there's kind of like the rear lockout by pushing down that helps. Like the R logo, blue stitching all along there. We also have a electronic parking brake, which is, all right, kind of the way things are going. Kind of this cup holder that slides in and out. You can see the key there too. Pretty standard stuff. A little bit of storage in here. I do like the blue stitching there as well. And like I said, these seats are phenomenal. Really, really good. Love this kind of blue and black pattern that they've got going on. And again, get a sunroof, so really can't complain. This here is a little bit boring. The interior of the Golf R hasn't really ever come alive to me. It hasn't really been anything that I remember, but I remember it for the driving. So there's been a lot of complaints over the years, or just in recent generations of Volkswagen, that the interiors are lackluster. They lack a lot of touch, like there's a lot of touch buttons. They lack physical buttons. It's not fun to use. So I read somewhere that actually the reason they do this is because they want you to interact with your Volkswagen like a tablet, like an everyday kind of user car, and they want that to be, like they want you to be able to customize everything A to Z like you can do on a tablet. So very interesting. That's kind of their philosophy behind it. I don't know. Does it sell well when you translate tablet world into car world? Who knows? But the part that I remembered the Golf R 2023 for was the driving. So let me strap that GoPro on my forehead. Let's take it for a drive. All right. On the road now with the 2024 Volkswagen Golf R, the last manual transmission. And you know what? It's actually not a bad transmission. And I honestly don't really understand why kill it now, because I think they're keeping the manual transmission on the Jetta, which is interesting because I feel like the Golf R is more of their kind of hot hatchy sporty vehicle. So if you were going to keep a manual transmission, it would be the Golf R. Anyways, I don't get it, and I don't know if I will, because I'm recently become a pretty big fan of manual transmissions. And this Golf R transmission has been pretty easy to use. There's no rev match downshifting, nothing like that. Or actually there is hill start assist, so that's helpful. But besides that, you're kind of on your own, especially if you're like not good at rev match downshifting, which I'm not going to pretend like I am. I'm decent at it, but there's definitely room for improvement with myself. But still, I can make it happen, which is, I guess, part of it. So let's do something here. Let's put it into, because I got race modes, right? But I've got a Nürburgring mode. So let's put it into old aggressive mode. I'm telling you now, I'm going to be a little bit cautious, because before I did see one of my, our little friends in blue, I guess you want to say. And in my case, I think they're wearing black. But a police officer, like, not far from here. What is going on with this Lexus? I don't think that's a normal place for that to happen. Oh, no, she took too much curb and her wheel is in the dirt. Okay. So I'm just going to be careful here a little bit because I don't know where he went. You can hear the pops and bangs from the exhaust, though. That's pretty cool. I guess it's almost kind of predictable, actually. It's pretty cool. All right, let's go. Oh yeah, so you barely need much power to get over to, highway speeds, which is really cool. Fourth gear kind of, once you're in fourth, you're kind of able to hit them. And the exhaust sounds really good. I've got enough power actually here in fourth gear that it's got passing power from all the way from first all the way up till fourth, and I think even fifth has a pretty decent power band. So power bands here on the Golf R are really not an issue, at least for me anyways. And again, in the Nürburgring mode, everything's aggressive. So the suspension is going to be a little bit rough. The handling's really, really into. This thing handles like a little dream. I mean, it just handles like an absolute four-wheel drive go-kart that happens to be manual. It's just like it's just very pointed. I feel like a lot of control in the front end, and I don't feel like the rear wants to skip out. Obviously, if you put it in drift mode, that does change things, but look, like fast corners, slow corners, like it can do it all really, really well. So naturally, when you put it in its Nürburgring racing mode, you're gonna get some really good racing feels. And even just like in my custom mode that I enjoy to drive around in, it's decent there as well, where I kind of have like the drivetrain in race mode. I have a lot of things in race mode, and then the suspension is in comfort, and the steering is just in normal sport mode. And I feel like I have like really good amount of control over the car that way. And yeah, it's just super easy to drive. I like the way the steering wheel kind of jets out a little bit, so I can also be comfortable when I want to be. And look, like if I don't want it to be a super loud exhaust, pop it right into 5th, and we're just at our cruising gears at this point. Like I said, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, the works on this thing. So meant for a road trip, meant to be used on the track, but also meant to be used on the normal roads, which I can't get enough of. I love this screen here, this digital screen with the kind of R in the middle, my speed in the middle, my gear on the right side or the left side, and then I can look at my fuel economy. But I love how I can customize that. It's one of the best in the game for customization of gauge clusters, so I really enjoy that too. And yeah, it's just like a fun little town car to drive around. Like, it's practical because you can park it everywhere. Like if you live in a big city and you don't want like a boring, you don't want a boring smart car or like a Fiat, whatever. You want something that's still fun, but also small enough that can fit in all like the tight parking spaces. The Golf GTI or the Golf R is your best bet. Like it's probably going to be your best friend because it can be fun on the highway, fun when there is no traffic, and also can fit everywhere. And another thing is, it's a car with over 300 horsepower that you don't have to park in the winter because it's got the 4Motion all-wheel drive. See, first gear isn't that fast, but then second gear can pull. Basically right up to red line it pulls. It pulls like a truck. It's not like a pull that puts you back in your seat. It's very gradual. As the boost builds, as that turbo gets spooled up, you really start to feel it, and the car kind of comes into its speed. But just really, really easy to drive. Very, like you said, I am not good at like upshifting. My timing's probably off. There's probably a lot more speed on the table for like people who are professionals in, their downshifting, upshifting. I am very much still a beginner manual, or say I'm in my rookie season of driving manual vehicles. So I'm not like a pro, but still, even me, if I'm able to get some nice performance out of it and it brings a smile on my face, I think that says a bunch. I think that's worth it. So the difference between the DSG and the 6-speed manual, obviously, I think it goes without saying, the 6-speed manual is the more fun option, is the more engaging version of the Golf R. And honestly, since it's the last one and they're not going to make any more, I'd say go with the manual. It's really, really fun. Obviously, maybe you could make the argument that the DSG is a little bit faster. I think it has a bit more torque. And obviously you're going to get the clean, crisp shift right away. And that car was fun in the winter. So I can even talk to you about the Golf R as a winter vehicle. It was decent. If it snowed, if it was icy, if it was rainy, I had the all-wheel drive. I really wasn't concerned, about slipping or anything. And when it was like a dry road or like decent conditions, I could rip it and have my fun and then throw it right back into comfort mode if anything started to come up. And I really enjoyed it for that. I think I remember saying that in the video too, like it was a decent winter car. We got to drift around a little bit in the snow. It's fun to do that too, because there's a little bit more surfaces. You go into a parking lot, you're not really putting any rubber down because you're just kind of sliding around. So it's a little bit more fun to do that with the Golf R, and it has a drift mode, right? So you just throw it in that, and it absolutely will work with you, which I liked that last year too. It's same thing again. We got it here this year as well. So yeah, we got little pops and bangs and stuff like that come out of the exhaust. It's hard to predict them. I think with a tune, you can probably pull like a lot more horsepower. I think Volkswagen have left maybe a bit of horsepower on the table there. But you can also pull probably a whole boatload more out of the exhaust, which I think is what a lot of owners, I've seen a lot of GTI owners that have pulled quite a bit out of the exhaust. So I can imagine what a modder with a Golf R could drum up. So yeah, I don't want to make this video too long because like I said, I did the DSG, not a whole lot of changes. The only difference is this 6-speed manual, which like I said, is pretty decent. The throws are a little bit long. They're not like as sporty as I want, and I would change the shifting knob because it feels like an automatic shifter, and it just feels weird because it's not an automatic. It's far from it. So yeah, that's the only two things I think complaint-wise I have for the manual transmission. And yeah, not a lot of changes from last year, but honestly, it was decent last year. It was very good last year, actually. And again, very good here in 2024. Whichever year you decide to go with, you will not be disappointed. But if you want the manual transmission, 2024 is your last chance to get it. So take that as it is. So let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, turn on the bell notification. I've got a bunch of cool cars coming up still. The year is not over yet. We are not done having fun. So, I've got a couple of special things booked coming up here that you're really going to want to see. You're not going to want to miss. And I think you'll like, the ones that are coming up here shortly. So leave a like if you like the video. Leave a like if I've helped you make your buying decision at all. If I've given you any type of insight, that's all I aim to do with these videos. Just let me know in the comments what you think as well. Will you be buying one, or are you going to see what they do with maybe a refresh in 25 or 26? Let me know what you think. With that being said, I will see you the next week. See you in the next car. Take care.